So in this video, I'm going to talk about 3 topics, and all I'm asking is to be little patient and watch this video till the end. This video might be longer than my usual videos, but this one is really important. The first part is where I share an incident and talk about if Indian literature is trash or horrible or if it is not. The second part is where I talk about how Chetan Bhagat, Durjoy Dutta or Savi Sharma, Ravinder Singh, all of them, how come they became bestseller even after so many of them do not like his or her work. The third part is where I try to address directly to few debut authors from India and even elsewhere from the world. So without any small talks, let me just start with the first part. I'm going to share this one particular incident with you because of which I'm filming this video, and I'll get straight to the point. One evening I was waiting in my society compound for my friend, and one of my neighbors happened to pass by and she saw a book in my hand. She asked me which book I was reading and I showed her this book. This is what she said next. Peruvian, Indian author. I don't like Indian author. I like Stephen King and all, you know. Indian authors are not so good. Chetan Bhagat and all. I remember this incident very clearly because I wanted to answer her back that what she thinks is not only wrong but rude and stupid, and that she clearly has no idea about Indian literature. How can I be so sure? I'll explain that in this video with proper facts and good reasoning. I wasn't able to answer her back that evening because she was in some kind of hurry and did not stop by to have a conversation, and a few days later she ended up shifting from the society. I remember this incident very clearly because these kind of things mess up with my head whenever someone just comes in and blurts out that Indian authors are trash and Indian authors are not so good, they write crappy stories, they write cheesy stories and all those stuffs. You obviously won't like Indian authors if you read Stephen King and then compare his work to general fiction writers in India like Savi Sharma or Chetan Bhagat, Durjoy Dutta and all. No disrespect or no offense to any one of them, they are doing better in their own way and in fact doing better than most of us. They have sold more than 10 million copies. That is not a small crowd, that is a huge audience. So how exactly and why are they bestsellers? The primary or say the fundamental reason why this happens is because they target non-literary fiction writers, which mostly are teenagers. Now, since they are only introduced to reading, they hardly care about character development, the writing styles, the grammar or the plot. And since English not being the first language, they sometimes don't even find that something is off while reading the book. Maybe they don't want to do some kind of heavy reading but sit down for some casual reads. These people become their target audience. Apart from this, there are 3 more reasons why or how they become bestsellers. They try to get attention from their celebrity friends by asking them to make a comment on their book, and then they print it over their cover page. I'm pretty sure that you ever stumble upon a book which you had no clue existed, but if the cover page says that Amitabh Bachchan appreciated and loved this book, you might consider buying and reading it for once. One thing leads to another, and ultimately it is the word of mouth that helps. Because of their rich sources, they end up getting more visibility and also get a place in the best-selling charts. The second reason could be that they advertise it really well. They print those big letters and numbers on their book, on their front cover of the book, saying that 500,000 copies sold or shortlisted or longlisted for some XYZ awards. And to be honest, these are some rich people tactics, you know, but they advertise it so well that wherever you go, you might end up finding that book and you would want to know that what's up with the book and the story and why is it literally everywhere. Yet I haven't mentioned the very main reason, that is the cost factor. Most of these books might be priced at 100, 110 to 150 rupees at max. A teenager or a college student might consider spending that much on a book, but the minute that you start selling the same book for 350 to 400 rupees, the same person who was ready to buy a book at 100 rupees might rather go out for a dinner with his friends than consider buying a book. Other Indian authors like say K.R. Meera or Arundhati Roy, Jhumpa Lahiri, Perumal Murugan, Khushwant Singh or Manu Pillai, all of their books are not available for 100 rupees. Their books are available for maybe 250, 200 or 400 rupees. But they are all worth it. Their target audience are not teenage kids or college going students, but the matured ones. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that college going students won't read or can't read their books. They obviously can, but most of them, not all, but most of them would go for a 100 rupees book than 400 rupees book when they are selecting their first read, and that is sadly very unfortunate. Even when you decide to buy a book from a roadside vendor, you will again find all those general fictions for 100 rupees, but the literary fiction, that is books written by say K.R. Meera or Jerry Pinto, Perumal Murugan or Shashi Tharoor, all those books for 250 or 200 or more. This is because even they know that these books are more appreciated and hence they sell it at higher price. Better books are not very easily available for younger audience at affordable prices, but you can always find a way out, like rent a book, borrow a book from your friend, or maybe get a library membership. Personally, after all these years of reading and interacting with nerds and those avid readers, they have all passed the age of reading these general fictions, which mostly were back in their teen years if they ever were at it. The girl that I was talking about in the start of this video is in her mid-20s, and there are high chances of possibility that she won't enjoy that cheesy love story which was written for teenagers as their target audience. The problem is not with Indian authors or their stories, but the book that you choose to read for yourself at a particular point in your life. If you have already read Stephen King, who is totally into some dark fantasy and supernatural thrillers, crime fictions and everything, and then you come and read some general fiction written for teenagers, and then you complain that all Indian authors are trash, generalizing and discarding the entire Indian literature, I honestly don't see a point there. Bruh. And if you go around asking who is Manu Pillai or Krishna Sopti or K.R. Meera, and if you aren't aware about who is Salman Rushdie or Perumal Murugan, then you need to read better books and stop complaining that Indian authors or Indian literature is trash, because you clearly have no clue about it. But those points which I mentioned earlier are actual and factual. That is how marketing is done. It appeals mentally to their target audience, and there isn't much you can do about it. That is how it works. Indian readership is highly diverse. Most of them are still confused between what is general fiction and literary fiction, or what is fine reading and leisure reading. Patience is required to be comfortable with certain type of literature, and everybody out there reads according to their preferences. Few love reading classic books, and few can't stand reading more than 10 pages of a classic book. That doesn't mean that you'll go out and say that all classic books are trash, right? If I were to answer her back that evening, then this is what I would have exactly said. I think that you are only familiar with 5 to 6 Indian authors, because you clearly are forgetting about those Indian literary gems like Khushwant Singh or Jhumpa Lahiri, Amitav Ghosh, Jerry Pinto, Mulkiraj Anand, Vikram Sheth, Sudha Murthy, K.R. Meera, R.K. Narayan, Robin Sharma, Ruskin Bond, Arundhati Roy, amongst several others. Update yourself better with Indian authors. Update yourself better with better books. Now, I'm pretty sure that after watching this video, few authors from India or from elsewhere around the world might go around and say to their critic readers that the problem is with them and that they don't know how to read and that they are not the right audience for their book. And the problem ultimately, or whatever be it, is only theirs and not the writers. What I'm going to say next is only for those writers. First of all, I never said that the problem is with readers. I am only vouching for Indian literature and not for someone who is going out and saying that what she or he read is horrible. And if you ever come across a review for your book which is negative, then you need to accept it and not complain about it. You need to accept and work on it, especially if it is coming from a reviewer. I stopped accepting review copies from the authors a long time ago, and honestly that is one of the best decisions I've ever made for myself. All of the reviews and recommendations I post on this platform or on my website or any of my social media are all independent reviews and recommendations and not in collaboration with any author. But that doesn't mean that I don't know what you go on and say to the reviewers who agreed to review your book but ended up disliking it. We literally have a WhatsApp group where we talk and discuss about books and the authors, and if ever the day comes that they end up posting a negative review for your book, we know how rudely you talk to them. Like, there was this one blogger friend of mine who ended up writing a negative review because she disliked the book, and the author came in and asked her to polish her reviewing skills. Bruh. Like, dude, how about polishing your writing skills? And that book was really not so good. Anyone who read that book had the same exact opinion. And then another one of such authors went ahead and called my friend an idiot because, again, she wrote a negative review. When you are paying a reviewer to read and review your book, you are paying her or him for the time he or she puts in to read the book, to write a review, and to share and promote it over all her platforms where your target audience lies. Now, paying does not mean 5 stars. I don't know who told you this. I don't know how did you even think it is like that. But only if you pay a reviewer does not mean that he or she is entitled to give you a 5-star review. I'm really sorry that I have to break this news like this to you, but that is not how it works. I don't even understand why did you think that it works like that. When a car manufacturing company asks someone to test drive their car, they look forward to honest opinions and reviews so that they can improve if there are any loopholes. They do not go around questioning the driver's ability to drive. They do not go around calling him or her an idiot, or they do not run after his or her license asking them to polish their skills. And do you really think that these small games will help you sell your book? Trust me, it won't. It always was and it always will be the word of mouth that helps. If a reviewer or if a reader enjoyed and liked reading your book, they will recommend your books to others. And if they don't, they will not talk about your book. It is so simple to understand that it is simpler than solving a second grade math problem. Bruh. I'll give you a very recent example if that be so. Amrita Mahali released her debut book Milk Teeth few years ago, and she herself said this, that she hardly promoted her book. It was the word of mouth that helped her, and she also got longlisted and shortlisted in many brilliant book awards. So the point I'm trying to make here is work on your book, edit it properly, and then put it out as a finished product. If you're not so comfortable with the English language, then write it in a language that you're comfortable with, Hindi, Gujarati, anything. It is not a race, and English is not something that decides how smart you are. It is only a language and not a knowledge, and you can always hire a translator later to translate your book in different languages. Even Chetan Bhagat, who is criticized so much publicly, never goes around DMing people asking them to take down their negative reviews or asking him or her to give a 5-star rating on his book. I really appreciate how responsible he is with his public behavior. So stop asking reviewers to give a 5-star rating even after he or she did not enjoy your book. Stop calling and questioning their worth. Stop asking reviewers if he or she will review your book for 30 rupees. I mean, I don't even want to start on that topic. What are you selling? Peanuts? I think that was much of a rant. The point that I am trying to make here is that don't go around saying that Indian authors are trash only after reading 5 to 6 general writers only because they were famous. Sometimes the books that deserve more attention are lying in some dark, dusty corners in the library. When you say that to someone, that other person might not even be a reader, but that particular statement is planted in her or his head, and that goes on, and ultimately again it is the word of mouth, or say the bad mouth publicity, and overall it also affects the entire Indian literature business industry, because I know that there are many out there with the same perspective, and it really is not a cool thing to say. I would really love to have an open discussion with you all. Tell me, what do you think about that very particular statement or Indian literature in general in the comment section below. I will be uploading a separate video talking about all those books that you must definitely read written by Indian authors, including some Indian translated fictions. Make sure that you subscribe, like, and also comment your thoughts. I'll be back again with many more bookish videos. So until then, keep reading.